Okay, so as you can see from the title, I'm going to be breaking down the top 10, scratch that, top 15 greatest moments from One Piece. To be honest, there were way too many amazing moments from One Piece, so I couldn't narrow it down to only 10, and it was still even hard to narrow it down to the top 15. Did you get clickbaited? Yeah, but are you getting more than what you came here to get? So there you go. Now, I already know some people are going to disagree with me on this list, but just keep in mind, there's like over 1,000 episodes, hundreds of fights, and like 900,000 quadriceptillion moments that can compete to be on this list. So just remember that before you.
I was actually very upset why Luffy punching the shit out of DB didn't make it in top 5.
We get it, bro. We get it. But feel free to comment what your list looks like and what your favorite moment was down below. Now, before we get into this list, I'm ranking these based off of how monumental the moment was for the characters or the story, and how emotional it was for the audience, whether it be happiness, sadness, anxiety, fear, anger, or hype. You get the point. So now, number 15. The world's strongest man versus the Pirate King. This might have been the most anticipated fight in all of One Piece. We knew this fight had to have happened in the past, and when we got it, the music, the animation, the sound design, even though it was only like 30 seconds, it lived up to the hype. Without even touching swords, they were about to break the fucking island. This is exactly what I pictured a fight between these two would be too. And I'm so glad we got to see it in Oden's flashback. From the moment Whitebeard's ship arrived on the island, we knew it was gonna happen. And when Roger said this might be the last time I see him, we knew this was going to be an amazing battle. Internet was blowing up when this episode came out, and I wasn't even watching One Piece at the time, but I saw it on Twitter and Reddit for weeks, so that's how you know this moment was nuts. By the way, this is only number 15, but 11 through 15, there's really no order. You can mix and match them however, and the list would still be fine in my opinion. But after that, numbers 10 through 1, same thing. 10 through 1, you can mix and match. Number 10 could be number 1, and number 1 could be number 5, and it will still be a good list. But 11 through 15 is like the A tier, and 10 through 1 is like the S tier. So like I said, you can mix and match 11 through 15, any order, and it will still be fine. But onto number 14. I'm counting this as the end of the auction because a lot of great moments happen in this sequence of events. Hachan's emotional speech to Luffy before the punch, Dark King Rayleigh's introduction, and also my favorite Admiral's introduction too. Now, where do I even start? This punch by Luffy is top 2, top 3 most satisfying punches in the entire show of One Piece. Now, you might see number 2 and number 1 higher up on the list. But this, oh my gosh, they know how to make an unlikable character. The Celestial Dragons alone I just do not like in the show, but oh my gosh, do they make this guy unlikable, especially with the snot coming out of his nose. Like, Luffy, wipe the snot off your hand. What are you doing? And the fact that he shot one of our beloved characters. I did not like Hachan at first, but you know, One Piece knows how to make you like a character after you don't like him. They do it like in every arc. But after his little speech to Luffy, I wanted Luffy to beat the ever living shit out of this guy, and God did he do that. Also, when I was rewatching and redoing this list, Dark King Rayleigh's introduction just sends shivers down my spine of how badass and how cold he is. He walks out, says, okay, I understand the situation, and just knocks everyone out. This is the first time we saw haki, or actually let me rephrase that, conqueror's haki in the show, and Oda did an amazing job with showcasing it for the first time. Okay, so the last part of this moment that I want to talk about is Kizaru's introduction. Kizaru to me is the scariest villain in One Piece, and you might think at surface level, yeah, he's not that scary, but this guy does not care. Kizaru does not care about anyone that he fights, and he will kill anyone in the blink of an eye. The fact that he just walks in and wipes out almost everyone from the new generation in an instant and does not have a care in the world is mind-blowing, and Oda did his introduction perfectly. His ship shoots cannonballs at the island, and he teleports on to the cannonball and rides the cannonball to the island and teleports off of it by the time the cannonball hits the ground and he's on the island. That, like, bro, come on. Like, there's no colder intro than that in One Piece. But yeah, the end of the auction is number 14 for me. On to number 3. Okay, so I doubt I have to explain why Luffy vs. Katakuri is on this list. If you're a fan of One Piece and you've seen this fight, like, this is one of your favorite fights in all of One Piece. I don't want to hear anything else about it. This fight has one of the coldest starts ever. From Luffy pulling Katakuri into Mirror World and saving his crew by letting them get away, to Luffy breaking the only mirror to get back, to Luffy almost dying 3 times and getting back up. This fight was like David versus Goliath in the sense of it's the guy who never falls versus the guy who always gets back up. Like, come on, bro. Oh, and did I forget to mention Snake Man? Gear 4 Snake Man Luffy? Oh my god. This, hands down, was one of the coldest moves in my opinion, other than Law's Room and Shambles. Python and King Cobra, bro. When Luffy said, Python, go, I lost my shit. And don't even get me started on Katakuri. He's just Luffy, but better in every way and does everything bigger and better and faster and stronger. Like, come on, bro. Plus, Future Sight has one of the best sounds in all of One Piece. But what really pushed this fight over the top for me is how Luffy overcomes adversity and comes out victorious. Notice how I didn't say Luffy won the fight because that's a different discussion for a different video and a different day. But seeing how he has to come up with strategies to adapt to Katakuri's Future Sight was amazing. Low-key reminded me of like early Naruto fights with how strategic they were. But I can go on all day about this. Let's move on. Also, this fucking soundtrack is amazing. Number 12.
パンチの打ち方を知ってるかって。やっちまえベラミー。そんなアホには現実を生きる資格もねえのさ。あばよ麦わら。
Now, remember when I said there were 2 punches more satisfying than the Celestial Dragon? Yeah, this is one of them. Also, when I say the moment of Luffy versus Bellamy, I don't just mean the punch, I mean the entire fight, and that starts all the way in the beginning. There's so many amazing moments in this fight. From Luffy getting beat up in the bar, to Zoro protecting him, to Luffy telling him not to fight back to find more info on Sky Island, to the whole Bellamy speech of how the era of pirates having dreams are over, to the parallels between how Shanks acted when he met Luffy and Luffy now, to Blackbeard's speech when they walk out the bar, to one of the most satisfying one-punch knockouts ever. I can make a whole video on the foreshadowing in this moment alone, and I might just do that, so subscribe if you haven't already. And there might be even more that we don't even know about in the future with Blackbeard. Also, this was one of the most unorthodox introductions of a main villain that we have ever seen in fiction, and I love how Oda does it. But I'm not going to go any more about this masterpiece of a moment. Luffy vs. Bellamy at number 12. Now, on to number 11.
Ato wa 俺に本当に鋼鉄を切る力があるかどうかだ。いいんだ。もう受けねえ。音。一刀流居合。獅子孫孫。アトミックスパート。 礼を言う。俺はまだまだ強くなれる。
Okay, so I'm not gonna lie when I say I did not have this on my list when I was first making it, but when I went back and rewatched it, this is easily, and I mean easily, one of the best moments in One Piece. I just looked up the air date to this episode too. It came out 2 decades ago in 2002, before most of you were alive. And it is insane how Oda and the production team made it fight this beautifully choreographed way back when. That is actually mind-blowing to me. I have a whole video breaking down every moment on this fight, so I won't go over it too much. If you haven't seen it already, it's called 2 Brilliant Moments in Anime. Go watch that. I break down every single scene of this fight and how beautifully choreographed it is. So go watch that if you haven't already. But let's go on to number 10.
行こ
いいのか挨拶。
う。いいんだ。
サンジ風邪ひくなよ。オラゼン長い間クソお世話になりました。このご恩は一生忘れません。腐ったな。寂しいぞ。寂しいぞ。バカ野郎どもが。男は黙って別れるもんだぞ。また会おうぜクソ野郎ども。
Now, yes, when I saw this moment for the first time, not gonna lie, I cried a little. This scene broke me down like crazy. I already knew this was gonna be an emotional scene when he was leaving, but as the scene became longer and Zeth started crying and then Sanji and then the whole restaurant, I couldn't hold it in anymore. Not gonna lie, this was the first moment in One Piece that made me realize that this show was gonna be a masterpiece and made me stay for 1,000+ more episodes, and to this day, this moment stands as one of the best for me. But there's nothing else to say about this. This moment was just super emotional, but let's go on to number 9.
まだ立ち上がるのかい。
はい、サンジさんはね、優しいんです。だから彼はもう帰ってこないと思った。お前たちがどんな罠を仕掛けたか知らないが、誰かのために犠牲になると決めたらもう動かない。片や我が船長は自分の思いを信じ抜き突き進む男。その決着は若き二人が決めること。最悪の結果、サンジさんが戻らないと決断した時、彼が自分を責めないように。私たちはこの旅で大きなものを得たと言えるように。いただきます、ロード・ポーネグリフ。
お前の最悪は随分程度が低いね。サンジが戻らない、それが最悪。みんな死ぬかもしれない。
死ぬことを計画に入れるバカがどこにいますか、お嬢さん。
Brook was the MVP of Whole Cake Island. When I was making this list, I didn't know which moment from Whole Cake Island to actually put on this list because we have Brook versus Big Mom, Brook's mission to get the poneglyph, Brook breaking the picture at the wedding. Other than Katakuri, he is the sole reason why, to this day, Whole Cake Island is one of my favorites. But what really tops it all for me was this speech right here before fighting Big Mom. But the best part is how he belittles Big Mom by calling her a young lady because he's, you know, one of the only people that's actually older than her on Whole Cake Island. But to top it off, after the fight which he lost, which we all expected, he accomplished his task by getting a copy of the poneglyph. But I can talk about this all day. Brook is the freaking goat of Whole Cake Island. On to number 8.
頼んだぞお前たち。和の国を開国せよ。どうや。光月の時代はここで終わりだな。全員死ぬ。うちの侍たちをなめんじゃねえぞ。逃げてなんぼの。
This moment right here was the climax to the best flashback in all of One Piece, and in my opinion, in all of anime. Oden went from a character that we didn't know at all before Wano to one of the most beloved, selfless, legendary characters in all of One Piece, and my personal favorite. This man crossed the seas with two of the most legendary pirate crews, helped Roger find the One Piece, and basically fought and almost defeated Kaido all by himself. And he couldn't have had a better ending by selflessly standing in the lava pit, saving his friends and country. To top it off, he died with a smile on his face, saying his famous line, "Oden wouldn't be Oden if it wasn't foiled." I cried a little at this moment too, kinda got me. But enough before I say tearing up. On to number 7. Now we all knew this was going to be on the list, it's on everyone's list, and still will always be in everyone's mind as one of the greatest One Piece moments ever. This right here was one of the first moments that I got serious chills and goosebumps from watching this show, especially after Nami's emotional talk and stabbing herself in the arm. Drums of liberation, Luffy putting the hat on Nami, and all the Straw Hats waiting for him to walk to Arlong Park. Oda really knows how to set up a scene, and this one is in the history books for being one of the dopest and best walkouts ever. And this was actually peak fiction for the early 2000s. And this walkout is only beat by 2 others that we're gonna get to in a second. So on to number 6.
いた？あの七部会どこに？なんだこの血の量は！おい、おめえ生きてんのか？あいつはどこだ？ここで何があった？何もなかった。
Now, there's not much to say about this scene if you already know about this. Zoro saying nothing happened is a masterpiece. If this didn't make Zoro one of your favorite characters, then I don't know what will. Zoro saying nothing happened after the Straw Hats fought 2 warlords back to back, and Zoro taking all of Luffy's pain from his battle with Moria. This was the moment that made Zoro one of my favorite characters, I'm not even gonna lie. And the best part about this moment right here is that to this day, there's only like 4 people that know what really happened that day, and it doesn't even matter to Zoro that it's that way. And that's what makes this scene beautiful. But on to number 5.
言ったんだ。言いたいことを。笛はない。ゴビー。まだ暴れ足りない奴がいるのなら。 来い、俺たちが相手をしてやる。
The end of the war at Marineford. Where do I even start? From the One Piece is real to Kobe's speech to Shanks saving him and stopping the war in the dopest fashion possible, this is just peak fiction. The best part about this though is when the narrator is stating the facts about how many wounds Whitebeard received and revealing that he received none to the back, all to the front, showing that he never ran away from any battle in the war. And I personally would not be mad if anyone had this moment at number 1 for them, because this moment is just so goated in so many ways. But I believe that there's 4 better. So on to number 4. This moment, man, I don't think I've ever felt so hype and emotional at the same time ever. That walk to the top of Etna's lobby was so hype, and Luffy declaring war on the world government and Sogeking shooting the flag down was so freaking hype. And to top it off, Robin finally saying that she wants to live was so satisfying. I don't know if you guys remember how satisfying it was, but we almost went 100 episodes of her pushing the Straw Hats back and resisting help from them because she wanted to die and she was afraid of the Buster Call. So her finally saying that she wants to live was the cherry on top of this amazing moment. But on to number 3, and I personally don't think any of you thought that this was going to be number 3.
Zoro 国の者たちよ、拙者ワノ国光月家が家臣金右衛門と申す者、同国武人雷蔵という同志を探しに来た。この国に来てはおらぬか。だからそいつがいねえからこの国は滅んだんだよ。ルフィ、ああ、まずいですよ。くそ、やるしかねえのか。お待ちしていた。雷蔵殿はご無事です。
Raizo is safe is easily the best plot twist in all of One Piece without a doubt. This moment had me bawling my eyes out, crying like no other. The Minks were almost a victim of genocide because they would not tell where the samurai Raizo was and said that they did not know of him. They said it so much to the point where I personally thought they were telling the truth, and I believe just like all of you thought they were telling the truth also. So when Kinemon came out and said that they were samurai from the land of Wano looking for Raizo, we all thought that they were going to start fighting. And in the most beautiful way, they sat down and they say the samurai Raizo is safe. This is one of the greatest, if not the greatest moment in all of One Piece that is never on anyone's top 10 list, and I personally do not understand how it isn't, because One Piece can't get that much better than this. This was one of the greatest moments. But besides that, on to number 2.
俺はこんなおもちゃにあしらわれるために今日まで剣を振ってきたわけじゃない。安全負けた。俺が負けるなんて考えたこともなかった。これが世界最強の力か。
何を。
背中の傷は剣士の恥だ。
見事。
ルフィ、聞こえるか。不安にさせたかよ。俺が世界一の剣豪にくらいならないとお前が困るんだよな。
兄貴、もう喋らねえでくれ。兄貴、
俺はもう二度と負けねえか。あいつに勝って大剣豪になる日まで絶対にもう俺は負けねえ。僕あるか海賊王。
Now, Zoro versus Mihawk. I don't personally think that this is the best fight in all of One Piece, but as an iconic moment, this takes the cake. Remember how I was saying I was crying a little bit during some of the other moments? Nah, I was bawling my fucking eyes out when this came out in early One Piece. I don't even know how to explain it into words. Not knowing who Mihawk was at the time and seeing how he humbles and belittles Zoro definitely was an eye-opener. And usually in shonen, we see our protagonist get up after being beaten down and eventually turn the tide and win the battle. But Zoro almost dies and he does not back down. And him doing this, accepting his defeat and devoting his life to becoming stronger after he doesn't die, but not for only him, but for Luffy. And when he says to Luffy that you need no less than the world's greatest swordsman. Isn't that right, King of Pirates? Oh my gosh, this is peak One Piece. This is peak. This is peak. This is peak. That is why this moment stands at number 2 for me. And now onto some honorable mentions. Rob Lucci vs. Luffy, Luffy's first second gear, the Straw Hats vs. Kizaru and Kuma, Luffy vs. Usopp, Jinbei joining the Straw Hats, Luffy vs. Sanji, Jinbei leaving the Big Mom Pirates, Luffy-in-law escaping in Dressrosa, Luffy's Gatlin on Kaido, Luffy-in-law's combo, Sabo's reveal that he's alive, Luffy escape impaled down because of Bonchan, the bounty reveal, Roger reaches the One Piece, Roger's execution, Yasu's execution, Oden vs. Kaido, Luffy's God of Fire, Luffy vs. Enel, Luffy vs. Arlong, Luffy vs. Crocodile, the list can go on forever. But if your favorite moment is not on this list, go comment down below what your favorite is.
次の時代を担う強力な海賊たちが新世界へ押し寄せてくる。俺がもし死んだならカイドウを撃てるのはそいつらだ。
カイドウを倒したい。ゴムゴムのレッドロック。
俺はモンキー D ルフィ。お前らを超えて海賊王になる男だ。
This is peak fiction, this is peak fiction, this is peak fiction. A lot of you might be thinking, okay, there is a lot of recency bias going on right now, but I beg to differ. This right here is hands down the best episode of fiction, of anime, of any type of media I've ever absorbed with my own 2 eyes. There is no better episode than this. If you don't watch One Piece and you start from the beginning of the episode to the end of the episode, you can understand everything that is happening and enjoy it just as much as a One Piece fan would. That is how well directed this episode is, and there is no fiction being better than this that I've seen with my own 2 eyes. And I've seen a lot of anime and shows and movies and video games. I don't even know what to say about this. I just can't. This is just perfect. If you need to watch it again to understand, just watch it again. But this is just peak fiction. But if you guys like the video, hit the like button. If you want to see more of the sub button. If you want to see me do anything I've yet to do in the past, hit the comment button. Let me know. I'm gonna do it I will be doing a lot of top 10 videos, especially for One Piece. So if you want to see more content like this, go ahead, comment down below what type of top 10 you want to see, and I will see you guys in the next video. Love you guys. Peace.